Hello everyone, Abhi with Iconic Motorbikes here. We're about to start a series of videos that we're calling Ask Iconic. Now obviously you see us a lot on social media. My business partner Adam is incredible at sharing all the cool things that we're doing here at the shop. But for this, we're gonna kind of slow things down a little bit and basically just give you guys the opportunity to ask us here at the shop some different questions, things you want to hear so you can learn more about our technicians, about the auction riders, about anyone here really. And for this one, I have the idea, I can't even remember how it was prompted to me, but I've been asking a couple of the folks here, hey, what bike over your ownership experience do you regret selling the most? So we've done a couple of these videos on social media, and we're gonna also do them for YouTube in a little bit longer format. So with that said, I figure if I'm gonna make everyone else here do this, the least I could do is sacrifice myself as the first video. So for me, the thing I miss the most in my motorcycle ownership experience is an RC30. For a brief moment in time, roughly I'd say about 8 months, I owned a 1990 Honda RC30, the US spec bike. I acquired it through Iconic Motorbikes. It was a bike that there was a gentleman in Utah that sold 6 or 7 motorcycles on our auction site. Really cool stuff. Gosh, R7, NR750, RC30, RC45. I mean, really the stuff that we love here at Iconic. And every single bike sold on the auction site except the RC30. The RC30 had an issue early in life where basically the motor blew up. And the thing is, by design, an RC30 motor, a stock RC30 motor, it's the way the pistons are set up and the way the rings in the pistons are set up, the bike is designed to consume oil. And so if you don't know that, if you're not paying attention to the oil level, well, basically you can ride the thing and the oil goes low and then you blow the motor up. So that's what happened to this bike. It was rebuilt, and when it was rebuilt, certain parts were, basically what happened was they kind of used slightly cheaper parts than the OEM stuff. And certain titanium components became steel, that kind of thing. So he listed on the auction site, it did not meet reserve, and Adam, my business partner here, is a huge RC30 fan and just has wonderful things to say about it. So I was tempted, and so I talked to the seller. He was pretty happy because he'd already sold 6 bikes and done, or whatever it was, whatever the total number of bikes he had, that number minus 1, he had sold those and done well and was happy. So he was willing to take a little bit of hit on the RC30, and he sold it to me personally, and that became my baby. It needed some work. We had to source turn signals from the Netherlands through our buddies over at CMS NL. And the first time I took it out for a Sunday ride with Adam and a couple of our clients, most of the day was fine, and by the end of it, it just felt like it wasn't turning anymore. I pulled over, I asked Adam to ride it because I know he had more experience on RC30s than I did. He got on it, and within 5 seconds he went, something is fundamentally wrong with this. So I nursed it back home, and it turns out that it had a WP steering damper on it, which was blown. So we pulled that off. Steve the professor did a bunch of work to it. There's a comical situation where someone that worked on it in the past, instead of doing things properly, basically what was happening was at full lock, the not the handlebars, but I think the reservoirs, the master cylinder reservoir, was hitting the dash, and the way that some person in the past got around that was by using wheel weights to add to the steering stop of it to prevent that. So, during my ownership experience, I documented all these things, and you've been seeing photos of this while I've been talking about it because Daniel Riff, the man behind the camera, is fantastic at capturing these things and sharing the story. But I bring all that up just to say that, even with the truly iconic bikes in life, you never know what the past ownership is. When you buy a used bike, you're not just buying the bike, you're buying the previous owner's problems, and you just got to make it work. But I had the bike for a while. I was daily commuting on it, which was really cool. I think a lot of times when I was either showing up to work here at Iconic or showing up at meetups or events or things like that, you show up on an RC30 and people are kind of like, oh my God, I haven't seen one in a long time. It's crazy to see one being ridden. And in a way, it was actually kind of like a rolling business card for Iconic Motorbikes, because I show up somewhere and people just go, well, wow, an RC30, where did you get it from? Blah, blah, blah. Well, then I get to give the whole pitch, right? Oh, I'm one of the owners of Iconic Motorbikes. If you want an RC30, we can help you find one, that kind of thing. I adored my RC30 for many reasons. A, frankly, it's one of the best bikes I've ever ridden, even 30 years ago when it was built. It was ahead of its time. The fueling was incredible. It's still one of the best feeling bikes on a throttle in terms of the connection of your wrist to what's actually happening to the motor. A lot of new bikes make more power and all that kind of stuff, but it's a little glitchy, and you know, it's all computer programming and that kind of thing, and it just doesn't feel as smooth as the RC30 did. I personally prefer the RC30 over like an RC45, for example, for a variety of reasons that I can get into a separate video. But also my RC30 had, it had a Yosh exhaust, which just sounded amazing. And I really do adore that bike. Obviously, the whole point of this question was, what do you regret selling? So you can kind of guess where this is going. Unfortunately, Adam and I were working out a trade/business deal with someone in the Midwest, and he wanted to trade some bikes that we had here in inventory for a whole bunch of his bikes and some parts and that kind of thing. And obviously, Adam and I, you know, whatever we have, we just try to keep going into the business and help grow it. And so I had to sadly let the RC30 go as part of that deal. And I miss it every day. In the world of motorcycling, that's the one I miss the most. In the world of cars, I used to have a 1966 Dodge D200 pickup truck that I had to sell at one point to just keep the whole college dream alive. I miss that too. But yeah, if I, one day, who knows, we'll see where Iconic takes us and all that kind of thing, but I will have an RC30 back in the collection. So that's the bike I miss the most. I hope that tells you a little bit about me, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about it. If you have other questions, I'm gonna run that by other staff here and have them share their versions of that story for you. But if you have other questions that you'd like to ask us, please let us know in the comments, and we look forward to having you get to know everyone here a little bit better. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.